Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. In a world where we're always pushing boundaries, typically when something's happening to us that we don't like, or in our love life, is usually when a lot of us decide that, no, I want to have boundaries. But are we using them correctly? Are we implementing them correctly? Do we really know what boundaries are, and are we really using boundaries for the things that we should be using them for, or are we just using it as a weapon against each other? This episode, we're going to unpack, uncover, and leave with a clear sense of what boundaries really are so you can get to implementing them today. Let's get into the episode. Hey y'all, I'm Kiki. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. So, this episode is going to be about boundaries. I wanted to talk about this episode because I see us talking about it a lot and I hear the word a lot, but I don't actually see a lot of people implementing it correctly. Usually when I start hearing people talk about boundaries, or I need to place boundaries, or I put boundaries in place, they're using it more as a weapon for something happening to them that they didn't like versus something that is supposed to protect them and not weaponize it against people who have wronged them, right? So with that, I want to talk about how we really should be using it. Is it a right or wrong way to use boundaries? When should we be using boundaries? Is there ever a place that boundaries should not be? Are people exempt from boundaries? I want to talk about it. So let's talk about it. So let's quickly talk about what are boundaries, right? Let's do a quick overview of what boundaries is. And I'm gonna just give y'all my quick definition of it, okay? You can always look it up and find the professional definition of it, all right? But for now, I'm gonna give y'all my definition of it. Boundaries is nothing more than rules, guidelines, if you will, for yourself. How you want to be treated, how you expect people to interact with you, how you expect to interact with others. It's setting the tone for your relationships. That's what boundaries is. In the short front of all the things that social media and internet is going to tell you, boundaries are rules that you make for your life and people in your life, for yourself and for others. Boundaries are put in place to protect you. At least that's how we should be implementing them. I know a lot of people like to use boundaries in a way where it works for both of us or it just works for me. But boundaries are meant for you to only think about you. Only you matter when you are setting boundaries, not the other person. It doesn't matter what they're going to put up with. It don't matter if they're going to accept your boundaries. It don't matter if they're not going to like your boundaries. It doesn't matter what they feel about your boundaries. Because your boundaries ain't got nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with you. All right? So these are basic rules that you have set for yourself and your life and the people around you, right? It's not to control people around you or to control everything in your life. It's literally to protect you almost from yourself, right? With encountering different people in your life, different situations, different obstacles, different things that's going to pop up. It's sometimes to protect you, not just weaponize it when somebody does something to you that you don't like. It's actually to prevent it before it even gets there, right? So when should we be putting boundaries in place? This is a question I get a lot. When? Who should I put boundaries in place with? When should I put boundaries in place? Should I start right from the beginning or should I kind of fill it out and see? And here's my answer. Boundaries should be placed any and everywhere in your life. From your job to your kids, to your relationships, your love life, your friendships, your parents, maybe the dog and the cat if need be. You should have boundaries with every aspect in your life, from strangers to people that you love and hold dear to your heart. Boundaries are not situational. Boundaries are rules that you make. When we go into a library, the rule is to be quiet. They didn't tell you what time of day mattered. They didn't tell you who was mattered. They didn't tell you which library mattered. Anytime you walk into a library, the rule is to shh, because it's people reading here, right? It's a standard rule. Your boundaries are a standard rule. Now, do boundaries shift depending on people to people, relationship to relationship? Yes. But some boundaries are core boundaries. Respect is a core boundary. Certain things that you will, behaviors that you will and will not tolerate should be core. Those boundaries don't change for nobody. Now, when it comes to your kids, they should have a certain set of boundaries. Your relationships should have certain sets of boundaries. Your relationship with your parents, your friends, your spouse, your job, everything should have a boundary put in place. And boundaries are not always non-negotiable, but boundaries can be changed. They can be changed because we can't always see and know every situation that's going to occur and happen to us. We can't predict the things that's going to eventually happen. So you pivot as you go. But if you already have a boundary in place, you already have a starting point versus something happening to you and now you have to create one, which means usually it's a whole lot of other stuff before that even happened that you now have to go unpack, right? So boundaries should be used for any and everybody in your life. You should have a boundary for yourself, honestly. How much of myself am I going to give to everybody? How much of me am I going to give back to me? A boundary is saying after 8 p.m., I don't answer my phone for nobody. Nobody. Because I need time to myself. And I might be getting ready to go to bed at 10 o'clock. So I don't want to just finally get me time when I'm in the bed. I want to have time to wind down, reflect on my day, and really spend time, at least 30 to 45 minutes with myself before I have to start getting ready for bed. So because of that, I don't answer my phone after 8 o'clock, 8:30, right? Or I want to be able to spend quality time with my husband. So after 8, I shut it down. I don't have nothing to say to nobody because I have to get quality time with myself for maybe 30 minutes or an hour. And then I have to go spend personal time with my husband and give him my undivided attention, right? That's what a boundary looks like. And that's a boundary that you've made for yourself because there's always going to be somebody calling. There's always going to be somebody with a problem. There's always going to be somebody with gossip. There's always going to be something on social media, somebody saying to you and sharing. It's like, oh, this person is on live. Can you jump on? Like, it's always going to be something. So you have to also put boundaries in place for yourself to prevent yourself from, let's say, from sabotaging. You have to stop yourself from sabotaging. Because sometimes those requests get overwhelming and we want, especially if you're a person that wants to be there and do everything for everybody, you want to be the person that picks up the phone, or maybe you are the person who always picks up the phone no matter the time of the day or night, you probably need to set a boundary for yourself. After this point in time at nighttime, I'm not answering my phone. And that's just in general. If it's not an emergency, don't call me. So for me, I really have that boundary. Like after a certain time, I do not answer my phone because I'm spending time with my husband, or I might just be spending quality time with myself. I might just be resting because rest is important. So I might be just doing that. So after a certain time, my time is usually around 10 o'clock. I tend to not answer my phone unless I'm on a business call or if I want to. But my rule of thumb is I do not answer my phone after 10 o'clock. That's just my rule. A lot of people know me. Do not call me after that time because I most likely won't answer you. Okay, unless I'm up working at night and I need you to work with me, I'm probably not gonna answer that phone. Okay. So boundaries should be put in place everywhere in your life, even with yourself. How do you know if you're lacking boundaries? How do you know that you're lacking boundaries? You know that you're lacking boundaries when you start to get into situations that's constantly overwhelming you. when you say yes and you really meant no, you lacking boundaries. Because why did you not feel the need to just say no? Right? Like that's a clear sign that you're lacking boundaries. You start to feel drained. You start feeling overwhelmed because now you're putting more things on your plate than you really want to do, or you really have the capacity to, right? You might be, like I said, the friend that everybody calls and dumps on, but you haven't set that boundary to listen. I've listened to this thing because we all got that one friend that call and they talk about the same situation, the same stuff. Every other month it's the same stuff. And you're like, girl, we talked about this 50, 11 times. You at some point got to set a boundary with that friend, like, girl, we talked about it 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out. I have that rule with my friends. If I didn't talk to you about the same thing 3 times, don't call me about that no more. If it's not like a health issue that you can't control, like if it's something personal that you just refusing to get rid of or something that you're refusing to do, we've had this conversation, I've gave you all I can give, that I'm hear you out 3 good times. After that 3rd time, I can't talk about it no more because now I'm gonna get upset. I'm gonna get upset with you because why you playing? I'm gonna get upset with the person playing with you because I'm that friend. I'm overprotective, baby. What you want me to do? Because now I feel I'm a fix it person. So now I'm gonna want to fix it for my friend. I want to fix your issue. I want to fix your life. I want to fix it for you, and it's not my job. So a lot of people have to realize it's not your job. That leads me to another point. You feel responsible for other people. You shouldn't feel responsible for nobody but your kids, yourself, your kids, and if you have a husband or a wife. Husbands, if y'all watching this too, okay? Because I do get some of my men trinkle in here. So if you have a spouse that you're married to, I promote marriage, okay? You're going to take on the extra responsibilities, have a little paperwork behind it, all right? If y'all want me to do an episode behind it, I can. Just drop it in the comments. But your spouse, your kids, and yourself, the only people you should ever feel responsible for. You're not responsible for nobody else on this planet. Your kids because you had them. Your spouse because you took that vow. Yourself because if you're not okay, then how is everybody else going to be okay? I'm the only people that you are responsible for. When you start feeling responsible for other people outside of that trio, you're lacking a boundary. You're lacking a boundary. You may be giving people too much access to you. Like I said, you might be the friend that everybody always call. You might be the friend that everybody always expects to show up to the events or do the thing because you never say no. Right? You may tolerate behavior that you shouldn't. You might have that one friend that's always talking out of pocket and cover it up as a joke, but it really low key hurt your feelings a little bit, but you never say it. Right? You lacking a boundary. You might have that friend that just that say too much sometimes, and you just don't be you're lacking a boundary. That acts for too much. You're lacking a boundary, right? Those are like core things usually that a lot of us experience, and usually we have that because we're lacking a boundary. And now, result of all of those, it makes us feel overwhelmed. It makes us feel drained. We're always tired. Some of y'all ain't introverts because you introvert. Some of y'all are introverts because you are draining your energy by constantly intaking everybody else's problem instead of creating a boundary. Sometimes it's just saying, I don't have the capacity. I done talked to 2 people today. I already got issues. I don't have the capacity. Right? Don't always call me with an issue. How about you call me and ask me if I had the capacity first? And then I tell you yes or no. And then if I say yes, we can talk about it. If I tell you no, you got to drop and talk about something else and get on my phone line. That's very much of a boundary. If you know you're going to call and talk to me about a problem you're going through, you need to ask me. I would appreciate if you would call me and ask me if I had the capacity to talk to you about your problem today. That's a boundary. How to implement boundaries. Now, this is where a lot of us get choked, right? A lot of us, boundaries are hard at the end of the day. So a lot of us get choked up when we try to implement a boundary because, one, we don't always know how to start implementing a boundary. We don't know what the boundary is. And like I said, sometimes you have categories of boundaries. Like I said, You should have base boundaries for yourself, right? That could be how upset you gonna let somebody take you, get you upset. Like for me, that's a boundary. Can't nobody take me out of my character to the point you finna send me to HE double hockey sticks, right? It's just nothing that's really worth that unless I choose it. But 9 times out of 10, I'm not even gonna let you get me out of pocket to where I'm out of character. My boundary is I'm never gonna let somebody get me out of character to the point that I'm unrecognizable and I start doing things that I would not do just because I'm trying to get back at you. You don't control my character. So you can run around here, and I've had people spread rumors, say slick stuff about me, all this extra stuff. And I know me, I'm vengeful. So that's why I set that boundary for myself, because I can take it all the way under. I can take it there. And I know me. And I have. My younger days, that's why I set that boundary, because in my younger days, I'm taking it all the way up. And the part about me that make you so cold, I'm not going to care. I'm gonna tell you, your mama, your daddy, and your granny what I did, and I'm gonna tell you the full story. Ain't no your side, her side, and then the truth. No, I'm gonna tell you the full truth and nothing but the truth, because I don't care what you feel about what I said. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I said, how I said it, and when I said it, and no, I don't apologize for it. I have that spirit. I sure do. So, okay, I busted up a lot of car windows in my days. I had to start setting boundaries for myself to say, you won't, because that's not really who I am. So I have to always walk in the intent of who I am. Even if you try me and you pushing my buttons, it's my job to get you out my life before it takes me to a place where that's about to happen. So one of my boundaries for myself is to never let myself get upset enough to where I have somebody take me out of my character, to where I start doing things that I would not do if it was not for this person, this situation, whatever was said or done to me. That's my boundary for myself. I'm just not gonna do it. I don't care what you said. I don't care what you did. As long as you don't put your hands on me, don't you worry, or my kids, or my husband. You ain't got to, don't worry about me. And before I let that even happen, we already gone before we even finna get to that point. I'm not even gonna let it escalate to that point, because I know once it get there, now you got me out of character. So I'm gonna stop it before we even get to there. That's my boundary for myself. So you have to start identifying characteristics, traits in you that need to be tended to, that could also be seen as unhealthy. Like, yes, it's like, oh, okay, you don't have a problem standing up. I've never had a problem standing up for myself. I'm an abused child. I come from an abusive background. So once I got to a place where I got out of that life, I left home from my mom and I moved out, and I no longer had to take that type of abuse from somebody. It was nothing nobody else could tell me. You're not going to talk to me crazy. You're not going to put your hands on me. Oh, I'm going to stand up for myself wholeheartedly. But then I had to understand that you could use your voice, but everybody just don't deserve your energy. Everybody don't deserve that. And who I want to be is not always who people will let you, right? Because they want to take you out of that. So before I let you take me out of being who I am, I'll just nip this in the bud. So my boundary is there. When I see you doing it and I see you moving like that, it's time for me to go. It's time for me to move around. It's time for me to fade the scene. So we have to be, it goes back to self-awareness. You have to be self-aware of the things that, and the characteristics that you have about yourself that could set you up for the failure. And it could be masking, like I said, standing up for myself. I don't have a problem with that. But it gets to a toxic trait. If I'm going to stand up to for myself to the point where I'm about to drag this to HE double hockey sticks, I'm going to drag this to hell, and I'm going to have to sit in front of the Lord and explain myself why I acted and cut up like this, it's just not worth it for me, because I'm pretty sure I got enough stuff I got to answer for up there. I don't have time to be fooling around while I cut up with you. I don't have time for it, right? That could be you, maybe the overprotective friend. Now I'm getting upset because you stayed talking to me about this issue and I want to fix you. I have a fix-it complex for people. So I have to set my own boundary. You got 3 times to complain to me about this same problem. 1, 2, 3. Baby, don't talk to me. I'm done at this point, because now I'm going to try to save you. I'm going to try to fix your situation. I'm ready to fight whoever you ready to fight. Like, that's me. So that boundary is to protect me from me. Sometimes your boundaries are just to protect you from you. All right. So I hope that makes sense. Get some self-awareness with that. Some boundaries are just to protect you from you. Your second set of boundaries is based off of the interactions and relationships you want to have from people. Our relationships should be two-sided. So if you ever find yourself in a relationship where you feel like it's becoming one-sided, do not automatically blame the other person, because they're doing what you allowed them to do. So now you got to go back and restructure this relationship, because you gave them too much. You went into this relationship without no boundaries, because you didn't have no boundaries when you met them. Because if you did, the boundaries would have been implemented from the beginning. Because when we're getting to know each other in human form, we are learning each other. So I'm learning how not to play with you. I'm learning like what you do when you don't like. But if you don't have those things in place, the relationship is going to continue to grow. And I'm going to do things that upset you and not know it, because you didn't have no boundaries at the beginning of this. So you have to have boundaries of how far you're willing to go with people. How do you want to be treated by people? What does that relationship dynamic look like? And your love life is going to be different from your friends, right? It's certain things that I just don't allow in my friendship that has everything to do with protecting my relationship, my marriage. It's certain things in my marriage that I cover and I hold near to me. So I don't discuss, I don't partake in. It's certain things that sometimes just to protect my marriage. So I'm not doing that with my friend. My friends know not to ask me to go to no club with them, because I'm not gonna go. I'm married. I'm not gonna put myself even in a situation to disrespect my husband like that, because things happen in those environments. So I've already set that foundation, that boundary up to don't put me in situations like that. If we're going somewhere and it's just me and you, keep it me and you. Don't have nobody popping up on you, because if you got them type of problems, I'm not the friend that you need. Because again, I'm married, so I have to move a certain way. So that's a boundary I have to put in place with my friends, because I do have single friends. All my friends, a lot of my friends ain't married, right? So I have to put boundaries in place with my friends to protect my marriage, because it's not their job to protect my marriage. It's my marriage. It's my job to protect my marriage, right? So boundaries like that. How do you want this relationship to be? Disrespect, seriously joking. You might have, some people got friends or family members that like to joke, and I call it seriously joking. They couldn't really say it to your face, for real, so they joke about it. I don't play that, because what you mean? Like, it's certain things. How do you want to be treated? That boundary starts with you. All your boundaries will start with you, your inner self-worth. How do you want to be treated? Because other people don't know how you want to be treated, and you have to teach everybody how to treat you. And then your third set of boundaries are based off of your relationship status, parents, your children. You should have boundaries with your children. This whole me and my kids is my best friend. I say that seriously joking. That's a serious joke for me. Like, do I say my kids are my best friend? To their face, yeah, because they're kids. It's rude. Like, if I don't, be like, nah, we ain't friends, we ain't cool. I have done that, but I digress. But we can be cool, and I can be a good parent to you, and I can make you feel like we're somewhat close as friends. That because when I hear my kids say, "Oh, you're like my friend," that means that they can talk to me, they can tell me things, and then without fear or judgment. I want my kids to have it, but I also want you to know that at the same time, I'm your mama, because I got boys. Even if I had girls, I still don't play like that. Like, I'm your mama at the end of the day. I need you to treat me as such. Okay? I'm a millennial. I grew up, my parents is not my friend. They told you that to your face. Like, girl, I am not your friend. All right? My parents don't drink with me. Like, I'm 30, I'll be 34 next month. And my parents just got to a point where they would drink with me a little bit. All right? My dad, like, but my parents, they were like, baby, I don't party with kids. Like, it's a boundary. And my daddy used to be like, was like my best friend. But even him, me and my dad was really, really close. love my daddy. I'm a daddy's girl to the heart and the core. And I've had to, in recent years, put boundaries in place with him because I'm like, this is not appropriate, right? Like I have my, again, feeling like you're responsible for other people. I'm not responsible for you. Actually, you should be responsible for me because I'm your child. It shouldn't feel like you're my child because I have my own kids, I have my own husband, I have my own family. I'm not responsible for you. So now I have to put in boundaries with that. And yes, you're my parent. I love you, and I want to be there. And I want to do it. And if I can't do it, I want to do it. But it's not my obligation. So now I have to put that boundary in to say I'm not responsible for you. You can do that yourself. But can you do this? No, I can't. Because just because you set a boundary too, you have to understand people don't care about your boundary. You can verbally say no. You could verbally be trying to implement that boundary once you figure out what it is, and people don't have to go along with that. People say a lot of stuff all day, every day. That don't mean you take them serious. You have to be the person to implement your boundaries. Once you find your boundaries, you implement them. So it goes back to self-work. How do you want to feel? How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be validated in these relationships? How do you want these relationships to look like? And then and then you look at what the relationships are right now. How are these relationships right now? How are these how are y'all interacting with each other? Right? That is what you want to look at. Are you happy with the way this relationship is going right now, or is things that you feel like needs to be changed, right? Is it a different dynamic you need to go in? You need to look at the whole relationship and not use it, like I said, as a weapon. You did this to me and I don't like it, and I'm putting in my boundary. You don't talk to me. But if you've been letting them talk to you like that and you are now trying to implement it just because something happened that you don't like, that is where the boundary goes wrong, because you're not going to stick with it. You're not going to stick with it because you're making the boundary about a situation versus making the boundary about you. Don't weaponize your boundaries. Your boundaries are supposed to be just protection, not a weapon. It's different. Just because I have a gun don't mean I'm going to just go shooting people because I can, because you did something to me I don't like today. But if you provoke me and I've told you to no, don't come no closer, or I will shoot, and you continue to come closer, now I have to shoot because now you're trying to do me harm, right? That's different. But you can't just all of a sudden weaponize your boundary when you feel like it. You have to be able to protect yourself, and that starts from the beginning of the relationship. And in the middle, you might find like, oops, yeah, we need to place a boundary here. You discuss your boundaries with people. Don't be out here setting boundaries and you don't tell nobody. You have to discuss these boundaries with people. Hey, this has been going on in our relationship and it really makes me feel this type of way. So from moving forward, in order for us to have a healthy relationship and for us to really like be in each other's lives, this is how I would like to move forward. So that they are aware. You can't be mad at somebody from crossing a boundary they didn't know that was there. And in the event that they do it again, you also have to understand you have to give people grace to, especially if y'all relationship has been a certain dynamic and y'all used to doing this stuff and this is the way the relationship has always been. You also have to give a little bit of grace for them to catch up, for them to be able to restructure and say, oh, my bad, she don't really like that, okay, I'm sorry. Like, and because they have to get used to this as well. Just like you getting used to implementing and you might feel guilty. We're gonna get to that. They have to take time to get used to this boundary too. So y'all kind of got to work together. But you should be able to discern if they're purposely not caring about your boundary or if they're really just trying to get used to this boundary, right? It's going to feel hard. It's going to feel overwhelming, but you will probably get a little bit of pushback because it's new. Nobody likes boundaries. Just calling a spade a spade. Nobody likes boundaries. You don't like them. They don't like them. Nobody likes them. We don't like them, but they're there to protect us, right? So you have to give a little bit of grace on that. You got to be like, okay, call it out. When I say grace, that I don't mean ignore it. It means, hey, we talked about this. This is one of the boundaries. You watch their reaction. If their reaction is, oh girl, you doing too much, you tripping, are you serious? Like, then yeah, now it's time like, okay, because you blankly being disrespectful. So okay, now it's time for me to implement the consequence of that boundary. I say 2-3 times, you out. The third time, you out. Because we not, but depending on how you respond that first time to me, when I say, hey, we talked about this, I don't really, that's crossing the boundary for me. I don't really like that. And you kind of shrug me off like, girl, whatever, I ain't worried about you and your little boundary. Okay, well, I'm not gonna worry about you. You ain't got to worry about me no more. And that's just what it is. It don't have to be an argument. We're not finna fall out about it. We're not finna go back and forth. I'm not going back and forth with you on my boundary because my boundaries are non-negotiable whether you want to comply with them or not. That's the thing about boundaries. They're like, this is not, it's not up for debate. It's not up for argument. Like, this is non-negotiables for my life. Like, this is how I'm going to be treated. That is what it is. And it's not forcing you to do it because you can't force people to do nothing. But if I'm telling you it hurts me as somebody who's supposed to love and care for me, if I'm telling you something that you're doing is hurting me, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, you should want to make it your business to fix that. So that's the difference. And then that goes into, so that's how you implement your boundaries. You have to be able to have the conversation with the person, make your boundaries, have the conversation with the people or the person or with yourself so that everybody, all parties involved knows about it. Knows about it and the consequences for it. Now, your consequences you don't have to share, but you do want to be able to say, hey, in the event that you can't comply, like if we want this relationship to continue to move forward, this is what I need. That sets the record of if you cannot comply with this, then this relationship might have to come to an end. Or I might have to back up a little bit, or we can't hang out. Whatever, girl, you put me in this situation again, I can't come out with you no more. Oh no, because I ain't gonna lose my husband playing around with you. That again, this don't have to sound like a formal contract, right? You don't have to be like, girl, you broke my boundary, so I can't. Nobody really talks like that, but it's like, that thing, we can't do that because you keep doing it. I'm not going nowhere else with you because you like to fight. But girl, I'm not going nowhere with you because we all got the friend that don't know how to handle their liquor. You don't ever know how to handle your liquor. You really want to fight people. I'm not trying to be in that type of environment. No, ma'am. That's a boundary. You just said it. Because you act like that, my consequence is I'm not going nowhere with you. That's the consequence. You just said it all in one way that's not offensive to nobody, right? So that's how you implement those boundaries. You figure out what the boundary is, you have the discussion. And then you say you put a consequence on it. It ain't a boundary unless it has a consequence. Otherwise, it's just talk. You all talk, no action. And then we have to understand the emotional benefits. Yes, boundaries are hard to put in place. Boundaries are hard for everybody. However, when it comes to your boundaries, it's easier once they're in place. And once you get used to putting them in place and having the consequences and doing the things and navigating it, you find yourself having more peace, more clarity, feeling more confident in your relationships where you stand with everybody. Like you just feel a weight off your shoulders, like your relationships are what you actually want them to be. Healthy is always good at any given time of the day. You should strive to always have a healthy whatever, a healthy food life, a healthy relationship, a healthy friendship, a healthy relationship with your kids or your parents, a healthy work-life balance. Like that should be, you should always strive for that because the benefits of it is way greater than the fear of implementing the boundaries and not knowing how the relationships are going to end up. The fear of situations that haven't even happened yet will keep you stuck and stagnant. We talked about that on the last episode. Just because it's comfortable does not mean it's safe. So in order to get yourself in a safe place, which boundaries is for protection, which is safety, you got to implement these boundaries. You got to get over feeling guilty. You got to get over feeling accountable for somebody else's actions or somebody else's life, or feeling responsible for somebody else. Because I know the guilt is what keeps a lot of us feeling like we are overreacting to things, feeling like we are doing too much, feeling like, well, maybe it's not that big of a deal. If it made you feel some type of way, it's definitely a big deal. Like, we have to start listening to our bodies more. Our bodies tell us how to respond. That is a part of your nervous system. If somebody said something or did something to you and you reacted in a way that was not normal for you, it made you feel a type of way, whether it was sad, mad, angry, depressed, it stuck with you, it just made you feel any type of way but peace and happiness or calm, then it's a deal. You need to figure out what that's about, because maybe it's not a them issue, maybe it is a you issue, but you still need to look into that, because that's your body's nervous response trying to tell you that something is happening here. Something is wrong. We need to figure out why we're reacting in that way. So if it made you feel some type of way, you should always say something, and you need to implement a boundary if it's something that's happening on a regular basis. And it doesn't have to do with just that person, but anybody that comes around you that's going to be like that, because you don't know until it happens. So that boundary is already in place, and you already put that out there when you meet the people, so they would know, like, nah, she's not playing that. It's hard. You tend to feel guilty, but it helps. It helps you with the burnout from saying yes when you really mean no. You will learn to just say no, because a lot of us get burned out and overwhelmed because we're saying yes to all these things that we really don't want to go to. I am an entrepreneur. I am a healing coach, and I get invited to things that I don't want to go to. And I'm always like, oh, but I don't want to seem rude. I don't want to, like, it's going to look like I don't want to network. I don't want to be, I'm not really into a lot of the things other people are into. Like, I don't do a lot of I don't like to drive. So if it's going to make me drive, I tend to not want to do it. If it's more than 20 minutes, I can guarantee you I'm probably not going to fade the scene. If I got to go through traffic time, I'm probably not going to go. That's number one. Number two is certain things I'm just not into. Like, I'm not into drinking. I'm not into like dry hanging out in places that I just don't. Some stuff I'm not. I'm really a geek, right? Like, I like books. I like crafting. I like to do things, like actual things, but I don't like to go where it's really nothing going on, where we just conversating and you got to spark up something. Like, I hate that stuff. So I'm learning to say no more, because I don't really want to do it. It's usually things that I don't care to like partake in. So there's no point in me going, because now, one, I got to drive. I already don't like that. Two, this is already something that I wouldn't go to by myself. I wouldn't be interested in going to by myself or with a friend. So that now is 2 strikes. Then the 3rd strike is, now I got to go and I got to act like I'm happy to be here. I got to network. I'm just not going to go. No. I'm not trying to come off as rude, but no, I don't want to go. Right? And it's just saying that. Because you have to understand where, and then I'm busy. I have a whole lot of stuff going on. So if I said yes to everything that I was invited to because somebody wanted me to come, child, half of the stuff I couldn't make it to just because, right? Like, I just don't have the time. Between 2 kids, homeschooling, being entrepreneurs with my husband, his schedule, my schedule, I just don't have time, and we don't have babysitters. So I'm not gonna overwhelm myself by making you feel good. Like, it's too much. Now I'm overwhelmed and stressed out. And that's just some of the stuff we know. I get that the possibility of losing a relationship is always scary, especially if you really like the person. But is it worth keeping if the relationship doesn't make you feel fulfilled? It doesn't make you feel secure. It doesn't make you feel confident. It doesn't it's one-sided. Is it really worth keeping? We have to like start putting the things in perspective. Do we care more about losing a relationship that's not really serving us versus just saying, oh, I might lose the person? Like, you can find those qualities in another person that'll actually make you feel like this is they want to be in your life. I get the guilt. I get the losing the relationship. I get not knowing how the boundary may affect the relationship. But at the end of the day, what is going to bring you that peace? What is going to bring you that calmness? What is going to make you feel fulfilled and secure in these relationships, and also help your mental state, right? And I think that's it, y'all. I'm like lacking boundaries. We talked about the lacking of boundaries, how to implement boundaries, the emotional benefits of it, and the challenges we face. Like I said, like the guilt. Some people just don't like conflict. Some people just like conflict scare them, and that's a little toxic, right? Like, you can't walk around life scared of conflicts, because conflict gonna find you one way or another, and then you're gonna be the one that's always improvising because you're trying to fix the conflict, and then you're going to feel like that, and that's what's going to make you overwhelmed, or you're going to feel like the pushover. People push you over, like you're the pushover, because you let things go, because you don't want to have the conflict. You just want to be the peacemaker. Sometimes being the peacemaker is a setup. Just make the boundary. Don't be the peacemaker. Make peace with the boundary. There you go. The boundary is the peacemaker. All right. And then we talked about why you need boundaries. So talking that, here's the thing. Boundaries are hard. They take time. They can be frustrating. They can be overwhelming, and they can be uncomfortable. Usually, especially when you're new at implementing them, they are hard, especially when you actually have to act on that consequence. That consequence get everybody. Sometimes we get past the implementing part and we do that, and then that consequence come on through and take us out. We be like, you know what, never mind. No, stick to that consequence. If that consequence means, girl, I'm not going nowhere else with you, girl, I'm not going nowhere else with you. If that means this relationship probably has to end, I got to let this go, that means I got to let it go. That means I got to fall back from you, then I got to fall back. I have to do whatever that consequence was. I have to see it through, because one, you need to tell you got to see it through for yourself. And two, again, always remember, you're teaching people how to treat you. So if you don't act on the consequence, they're going to now know any other boundary that you have, they can walk all over, because you're not serious. You can't expect others to take you serious if you don't take yourself serious. So, yeah. With that, I think I've kept y'all enough. I just want y'all to remember that consequences are not easy, but they are necessary. They're necessary for your growth. They're necessary for your peace, and they're necessary to have this healthy relationships. Like, they should not only be implemented when it comes to your love life. They should not only be implemented when it comes to your friends. They should be implemented in every area of your life. No, I can't work Saturdays. Some of y'all need boundaries with your job. Yes, I'm going on vacation once a month. Like, no, I'm not answering my phone after 7 p.m. Like, especially if you're an entrepreneur. No, I'm not answering no emails late night. Like, put a boundary. Stick to it, because it's meant to protect you from whatever and whom. Stop fearing it. It's okay, because it's everything gonna go how it's gonna go, regardless if you fight it or not. 9 times out of 10, what's gonna happen is you're going to hurt harder, because you're gonna know you should have implemented something you didn't, and you're gonna feel played. They're not easy, but they necessary. And with that, y'all, that's all I got for today. If you have not and you listen this far, please like this video, share this video with a friend that might need it, subscribe, and tell me, what is one way that you're going to implement a boundary this week, or what is a boundary that you've currently implemented recently. Let me know down in the comments. I can't wait to read. In the meantime, thank y'all for being here with me, for rocking out with me. In the meantime, in between time, I'm Kiki. And remember that you are the key to unlocking your dreams. In the meantime, in between time, y'all, hunt life, live. Bye, y'all.